Good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday afternoon, 12:30 in Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane, which means it is time for the People-to-People Employment Market Update. And I'm here today, my name's Mark Smith, by the way. I'm Group Managing Director of People-to-People in Australia and Frog Recruitment in New Zealand. And today I'm here with one of the founders of People-to-People, Manda Milling.
Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon, Manda.
Good afternoon,
Manda, we've got a packed broadcast today, so we're going to try and stick to the 20 minutes. But we'll be talking to Manda about one of the new changes, or the superannuation change, which is coming up very shortly. We've got our regular numbers section. And then we'll be crossing to Ben Wheeler in Queensland, and he'll be sharing some insights on a blog post that he's written recently. And finally, we've got 3 vacancies to talk to you about based here in Sydney with our HR solutions team, with Manish, who will be updating us with those particular vacancies. But let's first get into the numbers section, actually, before we talk to you, Manda. So the numbers this week, what we're going to be talking about is the unemployment numbers that were released by the Bureau of Statistics on the 20th of May. So we missed them last week, and I thought it was important just to have a look at these because it's such a remarkable change since this time last year. So Jayden, if you just wanted to pop up those stats. So here are the key statistics here. Firstly, unemployment has decreased again to 5.5%. But the participation rate has also decreased to 66%, which coincides with the employment number, 13,040,400, decreasing slightly as well. So what that really means is that the unemployment rate has dropped, even though the number of people has also in work has dropped because the participation rate has dropped as well. Monthly hours worked has also decreased to 13 million hours. So let's see what that looks like on a graphical level. So this is the unemployment rate over the last 10 years. And I just want to point out that 5.5% rate is the equivalent of around October of 2012. And the last time it was at this particular level was in April of 2018, and the middle and last 6 months of 2018 was really the peak of the last employment market. So to see the rise and then the subsequent decline in unemployment at that sort of level is a remarkable result. So let's have a quick look also at the employed people number. Now, the only reason I wanted to show you this is that we've basically recovered from the COVID recession, but it's really interesting, that little dip at the end, of the employment decreasing by 30,000 people, or 0.2%, which is interesting. What does it really mean? Does it mean that we've peaked and we should be expecting unemployment to remain where it is? It really will be interesting to watch over the next couple of months. The last slide I'd like to show you is the underemployment slide, and the underemployment rate, as with the unemployment rate, decreased by 0.2 points to 7.8%. The underemployment rate was 5.9 points lower than April 2020 and 1 point lower than March 2020. So that's a remarkable result when you think there are fewer people underemployed than in March 2020, and that was when the COVID was just starting, and basically the numbers hadn't flowed through. So some really, really good numbers there in terms of unemployment and underemployment, and it does suggest that the market for jobs right now is strong, and I am sure, Manda, you would agree with me on that at the moment.
Oh, amazing. I mean, trying to find, talent or good people to fill a job. I mean, they're tearing their hair out.
So both of us have been in the recruitment industry, 27 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I have not seen the tight employment or candidate short market
amazing.
like this for ages. Okay, all right. So that's it for the numbers section. So let's move on then. And I'm sitting here with Manda, so it's great to have you here, Manda.
Thank you very much for having me, Mark.
In the brand new podcast
Can
room.
I say it's very different to the first recruitment office I walked into in August of 1994.
Yes,
Very, very different.
just a little different. But we're going to talk about superannuation. So there's a change coming.
There is a change coming. So we have not had an increase in the superannuation guarantee levy since the 1st of July 2014. That's why people are probably taken by surprise that we are due for one now on the 1st of July 2021. And that means currently, as everyone knows, it's 9.5% and it will be going to 10%. So, what does this mean? I hear you asking.
Indeed.
Mark.
Now, before it, I've just realised I haven't said to everybody that if you do have any specific questions for Amanda, myself, Manish or Ben, then please pop them in the comments, and I can see that Jayden has already put in the superannuation changes from the ATO in their comments there. If you have any comments, we can see them real time, and we can answer your questions in real time as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so what does it mean?
Well, look, just so everyone knows, and then we're now going to be getting regular 0.5% increases now until the 1st of July 2025, when superannuation will go to 12%. So that means that year on year there won't be such a big gap that we've just experienced. So what it means, so if you're in the job market looking for a new job, and your contract, that the offer that you're made of employment says a salary package, and you're due to start after the 1st of July, just one scenario that I know will be very common, you need to double check to see whether you'll have that package will be inclusive of 9.5% that you've agreed on, then it'll actually go to 10%, meaning that your take-home salary will decrease by a little bit. So these are just things you just need to be aware of. So you might have a contract that says base salary plus super. Well, obviously the plus super amount will change. I guess you also need to, if you're currently in a job not looking, have a chat to your employer to see whether that superannuation will be, the additional amount will be paid on top of your base salary, or whether they work on a package for their payroll and therefore your base salary will decrease a little bit. So hopefully that's as clear as mud, but just things to be aware of if you're in the job market, and also if you're with your current employer.
Yeah, clarity around I would encourage everybody watching that with this change, to make sure you review the contract that you have and see whether it is base plus super, and then the question is, okay, so therefore I must be obviously getting a 0.5% rise in my package from the 1st of July, or secondly, if it's a package number, then does that mean that the take-home go down by 0.5%? So it's an interesting question. There's not a lot of chatter out there in the market at the moment about superannuation, which is why I thought it was important to have Manda here talking about it this morning. It is something in the next 4 weeks that you do need to have a look at. Okay, all right. I can see that Fazana has said that entry-level jobs she finds it hard to agree that entry-level jobs are readily available. So she's looking for a new or an entry-level role in accounting or an assistant accountant. That is true, Fazana. The market for entry-level positions is different from the market where people are looking for skills that are readily available. So this is one of the conversations that many of our consultants are having with our clients, is that they need to give people a chance and to hire not based on demonstrated skills previously, but to hire on potential. So I know that there are many people like yourself who are in the same situation. So it's a conversation that consultants, and I would encourage you to have the similar conversation with employers directly, though. But if you're actually catching up with a consultant, that they can advocate on your behalf as to the potential that you could be hired. We're catching up with Ben Wheeler from Queensland. He is a specialist in accounting recruiting, so I'll make sure that we address that with him as well. Okay, all right. Now, we are going to cross to Ben in a second, but before we do that, I think there is an opportunity in South Australia that Peter is working on, and we've got a video on that, so we'll do that right now.
P2P are working with Flinders Port Holdings Group to recruit a newly created senior HR business partner position to support the human resources team and play an integral part in the future growth of their business. Flinders Port are a South Australian organisation that formed in 2001 and now employs over 800 employees and are the leading port operator in South Australia, handling the vast majority of the state's imports and exports each year. They are proud supporters of their local communities where they operate and provide community sponsorship programs including sporting, organisation and events. As the Senior HR Business Partner, you will support the business units within the group. You will partner with the leaders within the units and provide high-level advice and direction to the group. Support them with employee lifecycle, including onboarding, performance management and development. If this sounds like you and you want to learn more about the technical skill requirements, please click the link below or contact me via phone and email for more information. My name is Peter and thank you for watching.
Rightio. Wow. That's now I know that Flinders Ports is a great organisation in South Australia. They run all of the ports down there in Adelaide, and it's a fantastic opportunity. I'm not sure that Peter knew that we are going to put that video up today. So anyway, she'll be delighted to know that. But now it's time to have a quick chat to Ben Wheeler from our Queensland office. He's the Managing Director of Queensland. Nice to see you, Ben. So how nervous is Queensland about the lockdown in Melbourne?
I would say mildly concerned. I think it's definitely something we're all keeping an eye on, but it's I suppose not a panic to do anything, but certainly we're all got half an eye wondering how it's going to unfold, and hopefully for people based in Melbourne it's going to pass in the lockdown period, but we're all watching and waiting.
Yeah, so I know that that's going to be our Twitter poll today to see, well, how concerned are you about what's going on in Melbourne? So it's interesting. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're going to talk about your blog post.
Yes,
so do you want to tell us more about that?
Yes, absolutely. And I will just second Mark's comment about a candidate short market. There are certainly more jobs than we've seen in a very long time. In fact, I know that Kath Kennedy was talking about Seek breaking their record for a second time, the most number of jobs. However, a CV is still very important for the job that you want. My blog is about 3 things that are often missing from your CV. So the first thing I would say is a narrative around your employer. So unless you work for a Google or perhaps even a Facebook, not everybody's going to know what your organisation does. And you miss an opportunity to draw on any synergies. Often people are looking, obviously, in recruitment to make a match. Whether you work for a large company, small company, people will want to draw any synergies. So it's very important that you put some numbers around it, sometimes around the number of staff, for instance, or revenues to get the idea of size. Actually put what the organisation does. That's probably the one that comes up the most. People are quite naturally interested and want to draw those synergies. It might be that you work for a listed company, might be international, might be private equity owned. There's lots of things in there that could form piece of the puzzle when you're applying to a role. So make sure that you add in a narrative, but don't get too crazy with it. Just a paragraph drawing out some key points. The second part I would say is your address. This has been one of those, I think, almost by stealth trends that I've seen coming up, that it's almost been removed for quite a large amount of applicants. And I understand with privacy concerns and the fact if you perhaps own your own house and you've got your address, pretty easy to Google it, see how much you paid for it, do a Google Street View. So it's someone's doing that. That's quite scary. But the fact is that the information, once you put it out there, it could be concerning for some people. So my advice would be to put even just a suburb. And the reason why I'm saying have an address, why is it important? Well, unfortunately, if you don't put anything on a CV, you do find that some people jump to the negative, and the negative might be that perhaps you're not even in Australia, and it's quite difficult to bring people, as we know, into Australia, very difficult, and they might overlook the resume as opposed to someone that's living, close by in the suburbs. So don't miss an opportunity if it's a positive to not put it down. And
can I just reinforce before you move on, Ben, that is that a lot of people think, well, it's a human that reviews the CV first. The very first thing that happens to your CV when you apply for a job, that it gets parsed through a database, and a database actually gets filled in. So and then your CV can be searched by a human or by artificial intelligence. If you don't have an address on there, then it can't do a location. So, and location is very, very important in terms of understanding where you will work. If the data is empty, often it's missed. So I encourage everybody, definitely put the address or a suburb at a minimum onto your CV.
Absolutely. And the same with the narrative about employer, that we would search on that, of course, for those sorts of keyword search. And if you're working, as I said, for a listed company, often we might be given a brief to find someone with that experience. So do include that. Lastly, achievements. I'm always surprised that we talk about a lot, but sorry, I've lost the light in my
You're
office.
not moving fast enough, Ben.
Yeah, not
You're a
moving.
bit slow up
I'll
there
keep
in
going.
Queensland. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, losing power over here. But with achievements, we often find you just get almost a position description come through on a CV. But it's very important you add a separate part and quantify all the better about your achievements. So what did you do apart from just coming in and you did the job? What else did you do? That's what sets you apart. So make sure you have achievements in your role. Irrespective of which role it is, what else did you do apart from simply what the PD included?
Yeah, fantastic. All right, that's fabulous advice. Thank you, Ben. And it looks like you're going to have to move around now
Get the lights,
to try and get the lights to go back on.
There we go.
There you go.
Energy
Somebody
saving.
turned the lights off in Queensland, man. I don't know what
That's
happened.
it.
Oh, well, last one out.
Actually, there's more. And Ben will attest to this. There's a net migration to Queensland at the moment. It's actually quite a big deal.
Absolutely.
And there are plenty of jobs in Queensland at the moment as well. So if you are looking or considering that move, jump on our website, check out the vacancies, or even get in touch with Ben. The details are his phone number is on the screen there. Rightio. Well, thanks, Ben. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
That's great. If hopefully we'll see you again soon. Right. Let's move on then. Let's have a quick chat to Manish. So Manish is from our P2P HR Solutions team. Great to see you, Manish. Now, I understand, Manish, that you are a big fan of the International Burger Day. Is that right? Absolutely. How many have you had today already?
Well, I'm a big fan of anything that says burger. So I've probably had about 2.5.
2.5. Wow. So I think Jaden, do you have a picture? There we go. Mate, get into that. That's got your name all over it. Manda, I'm not sure about you. No, is that right?
I only have to look at that and I put on 2 kilos.
What did you describe that as before? It was as a mature age woman or something?
Well, we can just, some of us don't have as fast a metabolisms as we used to, mate.
Excellent. Righto. Let's move on. We're here to talk about 3 fantastic vacancies that you've got, Manish. Do you want to tell us about those particular roles?
Absolutely. Thanks, Mark. I'll start with the case manager role. So we've got an escalations case manager role. We've actually got 6 positions available here at our client site. The client is a very well-known global manufacturer of electronics, mobile devices, home appliances, based out in Homebush.
Right.
We are looking for somebody that is confident, decisive, and has got a customer-first approach. And it's a full-time role based in their head office. It's a 55K base plus super plus bonus structure as well on top.
And what sort of background would you be looking for? So if we've just talked about with Ben about the CVs that and what people should have on their CV. What will you be looking for on somebody's CV?
I think somebody that, first of all, is experienced in an environment of answering and making out a large volume of calls would be great. Mm-hmm. Somebody that has been involved in an environment where they were required to do investigations and reaching out to other departments for information and then make a decision based on that. That'd be really good. So if you have on your CV something similar to a call center environment, we've had, for example, people that applied from Datacom, and they used to work for Service New South Wales or ATO, where they would have handled disgruntled customers and large volumes of calls. Those would be the type of experience that would certainly welcome.
Great, fantastic. And any other benefits that what's it like to work at this client? What's it culturally?
It's fantastic. It's vibrant. You got access to so many great perks, health and well-being benefits, and free parking on site as well.
Yeah, that's sometimes overlooked, isn't it? I mean, particularly...
It's the little details
parking
that can add a lot of value.
Yeah, particularly those who are working in, say, CBD or North Sydney or something like that in Sydney, and if they don't have parking, free parking, it makes a big difference. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great. All right. Thanks, Manish.
So-
It was great to see you. Don't eat too many. If you don't eat too many burgers, mate. Like that's. I don't think it's.
I'll
I
do
mean,
my
I'm
level
feeling-
best.
I'm having a heart murmur just looking at just thinking about that. But if people
It's
want to
only
get in
once a
touch
year.
with,
It's only once a year. We'll be fine.
excellent. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you about these jobs, how do they go about doing that? We'll make sure we put the links to the jobs in the. Oh, that's your phone ringing, isn't it?
Yes, sorry. There we go. My apologies.
So
Now,
if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how do they do about doing that?
many ways. I welcome anybody to reach out to me on LinkedIn. My details are also on the People to People website. Or alternatively, you can also probably, I think, Ben, sorry, my email address is posted there as well, so you can contact me directly.
Great, fantastic. Thanks, Manish. Thanks for joining us today. Hopefully we'll
Thanks,
see you
Mark.
again soon. Great. All right, and that brings us to the end of today. Oh, Amanda, you're going to get in close to me. Is that right? There you go.
There
wow.
we go. For the big finale.
Big finale. Well, actually, what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about the results of last week's Twitter poll. So, do you want to pop up those results? So, here was the question: do you have the job that you really want? Yeah, nah. Well, it's a definite nah, isn't it? Really, 71% saying no. So, given the market that we're experiencing at the moment, I would encourage people. It's a good time to start looking. So check that out. So
And also, I'd suggest buy Erin Devlin's book so you can get the job you really want.
That's right. Well, let's see if we can. Jaden, can you make sure you put a link to that on the in the.
You're welcome, Erin.
So put a link to that
Excellent.
in the comments there. Right. So here's this week's Twitter poll. So it's about Melbourne. How concerned are you about the impact of the Melbourne cluster? So we know that Ben said he's, fair to middling, only slightly concerned. But are you very concerned, slightly, or not at all? I'd be interested to see what the Twitterverse says about that next week. Rightio, that brings us to the end of the broadcast, right on time, just over 20 minutes. So thanks again for joining us on a Friday afternoon with an employment market update. We'll be back again this time next week. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Amanda.